everyone, very good morning and good evening. Parminder here. Welcome to SAP S4HANA Simple Logistics training sessions. I hope you all are able to hear me clearly and you can also see my screen. Can support team confirm that I am audible and it's clear enough?
Yep.
Okay, that's good. Okay, guys, so I will quickly cover what we have done in our last session, not much, but what we have done, I will quickly cover and then we will proceed ahead. In our last session, we have started with the topic of basics of Fiori. We talked about what is Fiori and why actually the first question we try to answer is, why do we need a Fiori applications? Why do we need an interface as a Fiori? Okay. We discussed that we have multiple interfaces available. We have a GUI and WBC, Fiori. So those are the interfaces which is available. Now we discussed that in the current existing GUI interface, what are the shortcomings are there that why actually we required a Fiori system? Why we require a new interface? So we try to understand that the problems are there related to user onboarding is slow, uh, and intensive user training is required before user can log into the system and try its hands-on. It is not adaptable to roles. Every time a user log in, a different kind of users, it shows the same screen. Okay. It is only work with their own machines through SAP GUI, which is your desktops. It cannot be worked on the browsers. It cannot be worked on the mobiles. So that kind of limitations are there. And it is a T code intensive. We need to remember the T codes which we are using it. Navigation is the issue. From one transaction to another transaction, the navigation is not that quick and accessible. The screens are also which is having a lot of fields, and users see a lot of fields and he get confused what to be filled, what need to be filled. The screens are also complex. Another thing we discuss is that it's not intelligent enough that can come up and tell that what kind of thing a user need to do. So you need to always log into the system and you need to tell the system what do we want to do. But based on the existing data, system doesn't give you any suggestions that where you should go ahead, which part you should look at first. So that kind of intelligence is not there. It has a very poor analytics and reporting. So reporting is still there, but when it comes to analytics, it's quite very few and poor in the existing interfaces. It doesn't have a search capability. That user can freely go and search. That kind of capabilities are not there. To do a same to go through a same transaction or to go through a same object, we need to go to the multiple transaction codes, create, change, display, and multiple reportings or multiple different transaction codes. And when user goes to this transaction code, he need to also input a lot of things. So that are the things we discussed, that they are the shortcomings in existing GUI system. Then we went ahead in the system, we log in into the Fiori. Before we log into the Fiori, we did this comparison that what are the different systems available in S4HANA ECC and S4HANA public cloud? What are the different interfaces available? We clearly discussed that Fiori is available in S4HANA also and Fiori is available in ECC also. What is a clear differentiator? We discussed that it's a HANA capability and out of the box application which is delivered by SAP, developed by SAP and delivered by SAP, which is not there in ECC. So we clearly discussed that. So once you log into the system, we have seen that how we can log into the system, and we log into the system as a user who doesn't know anything. So we actually in yesterday's session, we tried to understand the capabilities of your search capabilities. So we went ahead and we went search, create sales order with just a plain English business language. User was easily able to find the sales order. User was actually getting some tiles in front of him, which he can actually easily understand what those tiles denotes. And even though he doesn't have any information, we try to search based on the product name, based on the product code. We try to search based on the name of the user, based on the date, and all of these search capabilities work perfectly fine. With that search, without any knowledge, user was able to actually go ahead and see the details of the sales order. He was able to filter the sales order. He was able to go inside to see that what information that sales order has, and he was also able to see that if that kind of sales order, he need to create system guide him that how he can create, or if you want to go into an analysis application, that also system guides it. And everything happened, we just initially typed the product code, and all of the other things happens through the navigation. With few clicks, user was able to do it. So that thing also has been made sure that these kind of things would be working with the mobile and the tabs. So that's why basically more clicks has been given rather than typing the information. That would be more easy in the phone. So we have seen that part. And we have also seen that what kind of different transactional applications, different kind of applications would be available. There would be a transactional applications, analytical application, fact sheet, and smart business application would be there. The transactional application we discussed, it would be of two kind, simplified for Fiori and HTML kind of application, which is not simplified yet as of now. And we will be able to see the same kind of transaction, but in a Fiori theme, in a Fiori browser. Okay, so these kind of HTML application would also not be a very good way to work with the mobile. So we have also seen that even that the SPRO also we can open it in the Fiori. It will look similar way, and the similar way we can do all our configuration through a Fiori window also. So that is a part which we have covered yesterday. And then we just started on the basic of Fiori. What is Fiori? What is UI5? That part we were discussing, and we found some disruptions, and we closed our session. So I will take a pause and we'll start from here. I will again in a new sheet, we'll start explaining about Fiori. But before that, if you have any questions, you can ask it now.
Arun, what is a smart business application? Can you give an example?
Smart business application is basically we have tried to see the one of the application which was not having any data, which is your purchase analyze purchases, right? Overview
Yes.
of purchase. So that is kind of a cockpit, which would be having a multiple information related to your multiple objects. It will be showing you purchase orders, purchase requisitions, contracts, that kind of things it will be showing you. So that is a smart business Fiori applications. Then in order fulfillment also we are having a smart business application which will be showing us that what are the issues are there in our order fulfillment. That is the issue analysis. So that as the smart business Fiori application, which actually helps business to make some decision. It is not only showing you some data, it is also trying to help you to make some decisions. So when we go into our step-by-step module classes, we'll go through in all of the smart business applications available in each of the modules, SDMM and PP. Okay, so if we don't have any another question, I would be explaining what the basics of Fiori, what is UI5, and the architecture part. So what we were discussing yesterday, so let's continue our discussion on the basics of Fiori. So what is Fiori? We say that Fiori is basically come from a name coming from a kind of a flower. Okay, Fiori means kind of a flower. From there, that name has been come. That's why when you log into the Fiori screen, the initial page, you will be seeing a picture of a flower. What actually the Fiori means? Fiori is basically guidelines to develop responsive apps by using UI5 technology. So what is technology? Technology is UI5 and Fiori is our guidelines that how we can use this UI5 technology to build up responsive application. So what is UI5? UI5 is basically your framework, which has all tools, techniques, library, classes, which will help you to develop that Fiori application. So UI5 is a framework. I am highlighting it here. And Fiori is a guideline. UI5 work on the basic technology which is called HTML5. This version of HTML. This is a basic generic technology which has been available with UI5. And UI5 also supports different kind of languages which we can use within the UI5. So it supports HTML5, definitely it supports. It supports your JavaScript. It supports your jQuery, JSON. It supports your CSS kind of technologies. So these kind of languages and technologies have been supported in UI5, and by using them, we would be able to develop and build our Fiori applications. Now, what is the technology? What is the interface which would be used to develop all this Fiori application by using UI5? So developers use Web IDE to develop. So let's say we are having a GUI where we use all the transactions. So we have a Web IDE which can be used to develop the Fiori applications. So where the development would be happening? Development happen on the Web IDE tool. Web IDE generally gets available in two versions. One is the local Web IDE, and second one is full stack Web IDE. We need to know these kind of things only for the questions which has been asked in the certification exam, although this is the technical terminology. So I will just tell you what you need to know from the certification point of view. So local Web IDE, your local user would be working without any internet connection. You would be able to work. It would be loaded in your local machine. All the things would be saved in your local machine. Full stack Web IDE worked with the SCP, SAP Cloud Platform. So you need to log into SAP Cloud Platform and you need to use that tool from the cloud platform. You need to link with your system and you would be able to do your developments in the cloud system. Okay, the cloud system would be having this full stack Web IDE would be having a little bit more function and features compared to local Web IDE. But developing a Fiori application, you can also develop a full application using local Web IDE. So who would be doing this development? Your UI5 consultants, or we call it Fiori consultant would be doing this developments. Okay, so basically the question has been asked is that what is Fiori? Fiori is basically the guidelines. What is UI5? UI5 is a framework. Fiori is not a framework in the uh, definition point of view which has been defined. So Fiori is a guideline and UI5 is your framework. By using that, you can develop the Fiori application. Now the question is that why this Fiori guidelines has been given? Fiori guidelines has been given so that to make sure we are having a same user experience. Whether you are working, on any of the browser systems or any of the platforms, the user experience should be same. So what happens when technical consultants and the functional consultants are involved and they have been asked to develop something to give some function and features? If the guidelines are not there, everybody would be coming up with their own kind of things which can serve the purpose, but it will not be standardized. Let's say you have asked somebody to build up a chair, right? So that chair, some people would be coming up with having a wheels, and some people would be coming without wheels. Some people would be coming with half backrest. Some people would be developing it with the full backrest, although it is solving a purpose sitting on it. Some people would be developing, preparing a chair with with the armrest, without armrest, with a cushion on it, without a cushion on it. So although it can fit the purpose, but look and feel would not be same at every place. Okay, so look and feel would be different. So SAP wants to make sure that whenever we are doing a developments for the Fiori, we follow the guidelines, we follow the templates which has been provided, and following that template, we would be following some kind of standardization and harmonization, so that when the Fiori application has been given, it looks same on all of the devices, and user would be having a similar kind of experience. For that purpose, SAP has put it as a guidelines. So you would also see now, I have also show you some tools like maintenance planner, or we have also gone to SAP notes kind of web pages of SAP, that also SAP has adopted to the Fiori guidelines. So when initially you log in, even the best practices we have seen that you would be having in initial page, some tiles would be there, which would be having a certain area related information or certain application related information. And then when you go into detail of that tile, you would be having a more information. So that kind of screen sequences and the templates has been provided to build the Fiori application. So that is called guidelines. So SAP wants to make sure a unified and harmonized experience. So that's why it has been guidelines has been given, so that anyhow any developments or developers are working, if they follow the guidelines, they would be ending up developing the same kind of applications. So this is about the basics of the Fiori. Now we will go ahead into the architecture part. But now you would be clear about that what is Fiori. Okay, what is a technical component of the Fiori? UI5 is a technical component. It is based on HTML5. We can use a multiple languages. Where the developments need to happen, developers, UI5 developers, Fiori developers use WebID. WebID is available in two forms: local WebID and full stack WebID. Full stack WebID is available on SAP Cloud Platform. You need to log into the SAP Cloud Platform, and from there you need to link it your destination system to your SAP server which you are working on, and you would be able to develop your Fiori applications. Any questions before I proceed ahead? Okay, guys, if you don't have any question, I would be quickly proceeding ahead. Now we will be discussing in the next slide is the architecture of the Fiori. What would be the architecture that we are going to discuss in the next slide? Okay, guys, so let's start the next topic, the Fiori architecture. Now you understand what is basically Fiori is. Now we will try to understand what is Fiori architecture. The technical architecture of Fiori. Again, as a functional consultant, we just need to know for our know-how purpose and to answer some of the questions in the certification. But this technical architecture, the main responsible guys would be your basis guys. Okay. So Fiori architecture is available basically in two kind of architecture. One architecture which is called is embedded, and second is central hub deployment. So first we will be discussing about central hub deployment. So in central hub deployment, what would be there? So we would be having a let me clear this stuff to make it bigger. So in central hub deployment, so Fiori central hub. we always have a presentation layer. So this is our presentation layer. Earlier, for a user was accessing this presentation layer, the earlier for them it was GUI, right? Now the presentation layer for him, for the usage of Fiori, would be web browser, or it can be also mobile applications. That would be a presentation layer for a user. Now this presentation layer web browser need to be getting connected to your, first we'll talk about your front end system. So this is what, this is your front end system. This front end system is also called as your, the another name for this is gateway system. Now what happened, now when you want to expose anything to the web, you need to make a HTTP connection. Okay, so to make the HTTP connection, what you need to do, you need to expose your SAP data, which is there in a SAP form, so SAP ABAP technology form, that need to be exposed to web. So how that would be exposed to web? There would be a connection in between, which would be called OData or OData service. So basically what happened, let's say if you log into Facebook, right? So your data is, again, the architecture is same, the three-tier architecture would be same. You log into your web browsers, right? But actually the data is there in the database of Facebook, right? So how does it, you connect it? So from the web browser to the application layer, even of the Facebook, and then to the database, the connection layer, the first connection layer is whenever you're using it, it use some services to reach out to your application. So what are these services? These services are basically calls that has been made so that you can reach out to your application and then finally to your data in the database system. So OData services or any services is used to get connected between your web layer and your application layer. That is basically your OData services. Okay. So what is the full form of OData services? It is basically Open Data Protocol. Is it a thing which has been developed by SAP? No, it's a standard. Why SAP is using? Because it is a industry standards. Most of the applications which has been built, which has been exposed now are using this OData services. So SAP is also using OData services so that the service has been written in an industry specific way so that if you want to integrate it with others applications, it would be easy integration. Now what the gateway system would be doing? Now gateway system is a technical system or is a application layer, front end application layer, where basically you would be registering your registration of this OData service would be happened here. Okay, all of your Fiori applications which we are developing. So yesterday we have seen some of the Fiori application. All of your Fiori application would be there. Your LaunchPad will be here. Okay, your designer would be here. Your UI5 framework would be here. So all of these things would be available in this platform. So these are the applications which you are developing. So that is also there in your gateway system. Your Fiori Launchpad with what we see, that is available on the Launchpad. Your UI5 framework, the technical framework is available on the front end system. Okay, and your registration of the services is available. It doesn't have any of your standard ABAP code which has been used to expose the data. It just has a registration of the services and all of your front-end components which will be required to use your application on a mobile or a web browser. Okay, the technical name of this front-end system is GW underscore FND. So that is a technical component which need to be installed on a NetWeaver system to make sure that we were able to use it, we were able to expose it, our data to the web browser. Okay, so that is a gateway system. Now we would be calling it our backend system. So if you remember our S4 HANA architecture, we were having an application layer, right? So the same application layer, we would be calling it here, that application layer, we will be calling it here as your backend system. So this is also your application layer, and this is also your application layer. This is basically your S4 HANA 1909. Okay, so what do this would be having? All of your basically your functional modules, your ABAP logics, your BAPIs, okay, your CDS views, all of this thing, all of your business logic in the ABAP form is sitting here in your backend system. Now, how this both get connected? The connection between both of them is through RFC, remote function call. Okay, so they both get connected with RFC, which is old technology, very old technology, remote function call, which we use to connect any two kind of SAP system. So what happens is data services which is registered here, when it has been called, actually this service through RFC, your BAPIs would be called from here. Or if we need to approach to the CDS view or any functional modules which need to be called, will be called from here. So your service, that what actually this service need to provide, that service would be written here, and these service actually would be calling standard BAPIs and standard functional module, which has a standard set of code. So let's say you want to know the information about a sales order or information about a production order. So we have a standard functional modules. We have a standard BAPIs which has been used to provide that information. So again, SAP actually would be using that standard functional modules and standard BAPIs. I would like to highlight one thing here. There was questions related to, people has a lot of questions related to the authorizations. So here what you will see, let me try to use another color. First system is using this OData service. So the authorization would be checked here. Then system would be checking that registration of the service. And then through the LaunchPad system would be checking whether the access for the applications are there or not. So some people think that when the application access has been given, user would be able to work, but it need to pass to the different system. And when it passed from the different system, it also passed from the different authorization layers. So authorization for applications need to be given. Authorizations for the OData services need to be given. And then actually system is calling your standard BAPIs and standard function module in your application layer, which also is linked with the authorization objects. So if a user has been given access with the application of, let's say, create sales order, but actually he doesn't have access to create sales order in the backend system, because the functional modules and the BAPIs are same. So what would be happening? System will not allow. So in the backend system, if the VA01 transaction has not been given, although the application has been assigned, user would not be able to enter it, because in this authorization layer, this is a second authorization layer where we create our roles, and that would be having the authorization objects. That access should be there. Then only user would be able to pass and complete the transactions. Okay. Then these CDSU functional modules and BAPIs would be linking with our, it would be linking with our the color is not that visible. I will use another color. That would be linking with your, what is this? Your HANA database. So with the CDS views or with the SQL queries, it would be linking with your HANA database systems. With the web dispatcher, which we have discussed, so it would be linking with your HANA database system that would provide the data. And then data would backflow. The backflow of the data would happen with all the authorization checks. So data will go from here to here. And finally, we would be able to see, and user would be able to see the information through the web browser or mobile application, which is intended to see. Okay, so that is a high level architecture of Fiori with the central hub scenario. So in central hub scenario, we would be having these two different systems. This system is called front end system, which is also very popularly called gateway system. And then we will be having a backend system, which is S4 HANA 1909 system. So when Fiori comes in, actually your basic S4 HANA 1909 system becomes a backend system. And for user interface, the front end system is become basically your Fiori. So I will take a quick pause here to check if you guys have any question on this Fiori Central Hub architecture.
What's this GWFND, Parminder?
GWFND is basically the technical component. So here, if you remember, for S4 HANA, we said that the technical component for S4 HANA is S4 core. That is a technical component name of your application. Similar way, the application for the gateway system is technical component of your application in the gateway system is GW_FND. So GW_FND application need to be installed on the system so that it work as a gateway system to expose your data to the web.
Okay. Thank you. And authorization twice. So the first authorization, will it use the same authorization objects as in the roles, or is it just the authorization to connect to the web browser? I mean, just the logon thing.
So there is a two things. One is this one thing is called authentication, and second is authorization. So authentication happens when your system, when anyone logs in, then authentication happens. So that authentication checks whether you are in the network where you are supposed to use it, whether your IP address is in the whitelisted IP address where you are supposed to use it, and then whether you have a credentials. Okay, so that part called authentication. So first authentication would be happening. Once it has been authenticated, then it will again go to the two layers of authorization. First, whether the front end authorizations are there, user is having access to the application access has been given, OData services access has been given. And second, it will go to when system try to use that application, whether the data is loading or not. That will also depend whether the backend authorizations are there or not. So generally we create two different roles. We can also merge it if it is embedded scenario. I will also discuss embedded scenario. But generally, we create a separate role for the Fiori and separate role for the backend.
Thank
And can be different boxes already? The two layers can be a different box or same box always?
So in the central hub, it's a two different boxes. I will explain the embedded one. In the embedded one, it would be a single box.
And both places HANA has to implement, right? HANA DB.
HANA DB has to be implemented because we are discussing the scenario of S4 HANA. S4 HANA doesn't work without HANA DB. So HANA DB.
So you have to purchase twice the DB license?
No, the DB is the same. DB is you're connected with your backend system. So database is already there, which is connected with your backend system. It's the same DB you would be using it.
Actually, I joined late actually, so.
Yeah, so your front end system, definitely the whatever the requirements are there for the front end system. If it is a central hub scenario, it would be an additional cost to put it that infrastructure. So whatever the infrastructure would be required for the front end box, that would be additional infrastructure. That would be definitely a additional cost. That's why the central hub scenario is more expensive scenario.
Can I ask? Yeah, I missed half an hour, so I just.
Go ahead, please.
So the front end system has to also implement on the HANA box, right?
Sorry,
The front end system.
Okay,
Also,
I got your question. So what happens? Basically, this system, okay, these both are application layer. So your application layer is also a box which require your infrastructure. So for S/4HANA implementation, your application layer, it is not mandatory that it would be a HANA database. HANA database is not mandatory for application layer. You can also have any normal database system, and on this normal database, you can load your application layer. Your
correct.
database layer should be HANA database. So it can be on HANA database, or it can be on the normal database system also to make it cost effective. But I generally see that the application layer remains on the normal database system.
Correct. And the sizing of that is different basis job, right?
Yes, sizing would be definitely different. It is not that big system because it doesn't store data. And what kind of size would be required, how many number of users, technical user would be accessing it. Based on that, your basis team would be coming up with the sizing.
So presentation layer sits on top of front-end system, right?
Presentation layer is nothing but your web browser. Your web browser is a presentation. So web browser also has a lot of capabilities. It has kind of a HTML framework, and HTTP protocols are there, which calls the data from the required system. So that is your presentation layer.
So front-end system and presentation layer are two different layers.
Two different layers. So earlier what we are having, our this layer, if you see here, our this application layer earlier was linking with your GUI. So our presentation layer was what? Our presentation layer was GUI. Now our presentation layer would be web browser.
Suppose the presentation layer, the web browser. Okay, OData, no box record for that, right? It goes to web, right?
OData would be there. You need to register the OData in your gateway system. So that way we require a separate gateway component, which would be having a OData service, which is doing nothing, but basically making sure that this data which we are having can talk with your HTTP connection and can be exposed to the web. So that OData registration would be here.
So the gateway system remains on the application layer box. After that, we don't need any box, right?
No, after that you don't need any box.
Okay, now second question will be, if suppose Fiori is not there, then which will be missing? No need.
If Fiori is not there, then your architecture would be on the left hand side. Let me denote with another color of pen. Let's see if we have an option. Okay. If the Fiori is not there, you would be connecting here this HANA database system with this S/4HANA 1909. Then this would be connected with your GUI. So only this below part would be there. HANA database, S/4HANA 1909, GUI. Your gateway system would not be required.
Suppose phase 2, you are going for HANA Fiori, phase 1 implementation normal, and phase 2 going for Fiori. Then we need not to disturb anything. The second, just to go for another box, front end box, just connect to the RFC, right?
Yes, correct.
And no need to disturb the existing infra or infra.
Correct.
Okay.
Paramita, for central hub scenario, do we need a Fiori server? Is that it means?
Yes. So when we say Fiori server, when we say front end system, this is basically your gateway system, which we require it with the central hub scenario.
Okay. And what is the rationale behind embedded or central hub decision making?
Yeah. So I will park that question. So first we will discuss now the embedded one. Then we will compare between central hub and embedded. What are the benefits are there in central hub scenario? What are the benefits are there in embedded one? We will discuss that. Somehow I'm not able to see the chat window. If somebody is typing any question on the chat, please ask it. Or maybe I'm on the presentation mode, which I need to go out. Just give me a minute. The chat window is not loading for me. If somebody is putting a question on the chat, please ask it here itself.
So Parminder, here with this scenario, like with this scenario, the credentials are only one, is it? Like suppose if a person wants to access both, like if he wants to go to Fiori web browser as well as LaunchPad or some front end system, credentials are all only one, is it? Username and password.
Yes, we make the credential once. Even we also prefer now the single sign-on concepts are available. So we prefer that it can be single signed-on. Even user would not be required to put the credentials.
Okay, and once Fiori is implemented, like if a client wants ECC as well, like GUI as well in some scenarios, so in that case, both the credentials will remain same, or it is single sign-on, is it, at that point of time also, or it is different?
We prefer it in single sign-on, and we create a same user ID credentials for both your front-end and back-end system. Even nowadays, the companies, a couple of projects I have done, even user has not been shared that what is his credentials. Access has been given. He just need to go, if it is a GUI, you just need to go to the GUI pad, double click on 1909 or 1809 server. It would be automatically logged in through the single sign-on, which has been linked with your company user ID.
Yeah.
The user ID you have logged, and he need to click on the web browser link of the 1709, 1809, or 1909. and with the single sign-on, he would be straight away going to the Fiori screen, skipping the credential screen.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So I'm like usually our authorization people like in SM01 or in user profile, there they have to maintain it common, is it, for two different systems?
Yes, yes. So when the authorization people would be creating it, they need to make it common in the both of the systems.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
We'll also jump into the little bit more on the authorization side. We'll try to create a user and see that how the access has been given, but we'll be seeing it for the embedded one because our servers which are available, we are having a embedded gateway. Gateway is embedded.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, so if we are clear and if you don't have any further question, we'll jump into the second scenario, gateway, embedded gateway. So now we are going to discuss what is going to happen if we are going with embedded Fiori scenario. So our presentation layer would be same. This would be your presentation layer, which will be having your web browser. User would be using it. Then you would be having your this would be your application layer, okay, which is basically your S4 HANA 1909. Okay, that is your application layer. Now in this one, what we are going to do, the gateway system, we have put it into the separate server, right? Separate box. The another option is available that our technical component, which I told you, is GW underscore FND. We can also do a add-on of GW underscore FND. So there are multiple add-on components, right? So this is also available as an add-on. So on the same server, we would be able to also add on GW underscore FND. So what would be happening? This application layer is also working as a S4 HANA 1909, and the same application layer is also working for me as your gateway system. So the same box is having a two component in it. So all of the component which we are discussing, which we have discussed, your applications, your LaunchPad, UI5, all the things would also be there. And in parallel to that, your function modules, BAPIs, CDS views, everything also there. So it's a now single application layer, which is having a gateway also, and which would be also be having your backend system. So now additional RFC connection is not required because it is inbuilt, it is embedded. These would be definitely connecting again with your OData service. So REST concepts remain same. Same way the OData service would be there. Same way the registration would be there. Same way the service would be linking with your functional modules and BAPI. And the same way we would be having a HANA database system, which would be connected with this application layer. So this is the embedded one where within the same server, the both is available. Your gateway system is also available and your S4 HANA 1909 is also there. Any quick questions on that? I would be going into the next slide where we'll be doing a comparison, embedded versus your central hub. But if you have any
So,
questions, you can ask it now.
Yeah, so the backend system here, the database will by RFC.
Sorry, come again.
The backend's database will still be connected by RFC. So the last part.
So this part, right? This
That's
part
right.
you're asking. So this part basically connect with your. There's a different concept, we call it web dispatchers.
Okay.
So your ABAP code has been divided into the different it has been separated into the different codes, and this web dispatcher link with your HANA database where it triggers the SQL queries. Your file input output system is there. So that is your database connection. It's not RFC connection. RFC connection, we use it to connect to applications, to SAP applications.
Like quick understanding on Central Hub and embedded deployment. So in Central Hub scenario, the other layer which is like on top of which is front end system is like Fiori front end system, right? Like MDG system, whatever we connect. Is that right?
Sorry, come again your question. So you are saying that in the Central Hub, the front end system is your Fiori system.
Yeah, like MDG system we connect, right, to our regular system.
Yes.
Is it something like that?
Yeah, exactly. The MDG system also comes up with exactly the same way with the two scenario. One scenario is your Central Hub MDG scenario, and second is your embedded we call it co-deploy scenario, right? So in MDG scenario also, if it is a scenario of Central Hub, the front end system which I have put it for Fiori, we would be having another MDG system which is a Central Hub MDG system. And second thing we can also do, we can also deploy your MDG system on top of your existing application layer. Also, we can add on of the MDG system. So the concept would be same.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Okay, so guys, if you don't have any other question, I would be jumping into the next slide, and let's do some comparison between embedded and co-deploy.
One small quick question.
Yeah, please.
The application layer has a both feature to handle the front front end and back end system, or the two-time application layer has to install actually different component.
No, on the same component. So there are a lot of things are available which SAP gives as an add-on. So let's say you can put your SRM as an add-on, right, on the existing system.
Mm-hmm.
So your application layer is same, but you add another application component to it. So one application layer can have a multiple components. So I will show you that technical components where you can see it. So you can activate, you can install add-on applications component. Let's say you add on MDG, you add on SRM, or you add on, in this case, gateway system on top of the same application. So your application layer is a single application layer which has a multiple application components. Okay. So let's go ahead and discuss our next thing, which is we will try to compare Central Hub versus embedded. So let's say this is the features which I am putting it for Central Hub. And this is the feature which is I am putting it for embedded. Any components which is there as a Central Hub. Okay. So this first point which I will talk about is common for all of the add-ons, whether it's SRM, MDG, or a gateway system. In your central hub scenario, your version will not depend on operational application layer. Your operational application layer is your basically your S/4HANA 1909. So there would be also be a versions of gateway systems. Okay, so when you put it in a central hub scenario, you would be freely able to upgrade your GWFND versions, your gateway system versions, without doing anything with your operational application layer versions. Okay, so the version dependencies would not be there. In embedded one, there would be version dependencies. Let's say you want to upgrade your versions of UI5, or you want to upgrade your gateway systems version, right? But when you are on the embedded, you need to see the dependencies. There might be a cases that system will not allow your version upgrades because it is on embedded, and it will also ask you to also upgrade your core application layer, 1809, 1909, that technical upgrades or version upgrades it will ask you to do before you can upgrade to your UI5 version. So that kind of dependencies get created when you go ahead with any add-on or any embedded component. The same thing is also true for MDG. Okay, so the version dependencies would not be there in central hub. So in the case of where you have gone through with GUI and now you are going ahead with Fiori, if you go ahead with the central hub, is a non-disruptive scenario because you are not touching anything on your application layer. The non-disruptive. Here you need to touch and install on current application layer. So there would be some disruption would be there in existing application layer. It is not that it is not possible. It would be small disruptions. We need to make sure everything happens smoothly and we do a one round of test. Okay, but central hub is totally non-disruptive. You need not to think about what will happen to your operational application layer which is working because it is sitting totally separately. Whatever the upgrade or anything you are doing into the separate system. Your central hub scenario actually can connect multiple systems. So your single gateway system can actually connect with your multiple backend systems. So your multiple backend system would be connected with the single gateway hub system. So that is possible in central hub. In embedded one, each backend will be having its own gateway system. In central hub, we are having a more components. Your infrastructure would be more. You have two systems. Your maintenance code would be more. So infra cost and maintenance cost is high in central hub scenario. In embedded one, it would be having low maintenance and low infrastructure cost. Your central hub scenario would be more complicated and confusing for development point of view and from authorization point of view. So the complications would be more. Okay, because you are having a two different system. Your user need to be knowing, not the end user, but the technical user need to be knowing that what thing they need to do in which server. So they need to activate OData services. In which server they need to activate OData services. In which system they need to register the OData services. Which system the UI framework would be there. So that thing they need to check and make sure they are using the correct central hub system. So it's little bit complicated. It's little bit actually confusing. This is more simpler architecture. We have seen earlier little better performance in the central hub scenario. Okay, there can be some performance issue here, but don't take it as a draw line, because we faced initially when we was doing in 1610 initial versions, we were having a embedded scenario. We went ahead to with the SAP and we were not having a good performance. I don't know the exact technical reason. SAP asked to go ahead with the central hub one. And when we went ahead with the central hub one scenario, our performance become better for Fiori. Okay, although SAP is working on so that embedded performance also would be good. Okay, it's not like that it has a very bad performance, but we found that in some scenarios you would be getting a better performance in the central hub scenario. Okay, so that is basically the comparison between central hub and the embedded. So how a business need to make a decision that which architecture need to be selected. Basically your basis architectures, your network architectures make that assessment and take a call that which system, which architecture would be better, because it's a technical architecture. Whether for your company going to central hub would be good or going to embedded would be good. If you are having a bigger landscape, okay, where you are having a multiple systems, basically then the central hub scenarios come into the picture, because you can have one single central hub gateway system which can connect and serve as a gateway for the multiple backend applications layers. But if you are having a single application, basically you are having a single instance of S/4HANA or not many instances, then embedded makes more sense. Okay, and if you are also, your company wants a totally non-disruptive approach for your operational application layer, which is basically all the major business logic is there in your backend system, and they don't want to connect your front end system and the backend system. The dependencies they don't want to make. They want to make sure that without any disruptions, your backend system should be working. Then people also adopt for the central hub scenario. Okay, open for questions.
Yeah, Parmita, with reference to the third point as well as the fifth point, now I understood that multiple systems can be connected. Then how these multiple systems will be connected with the front-end system? Is there, will there be any partitioning or the same client or different clients of the front-end system? How it will look like?
No, the front-end system
with reference to multiple systems. I have 4 systems, including S4, central hub. Then how it will look like? That's the question.
Yeah, so system would look like exactly in the same way. So what you have is that you would be having, whenever you register your OData services, you have a different OData projects. So you can have a different OData projects where the OData service actually would be there's embedded in that OData service that which system it need to call, whether that OData service need to call your X system or whether the destination for that OData service need to be called with the Y system. So that would depend on when you register your OData services, there would be a separate destination would be there within the same central hub scenario, within the same central hub gateway system. Your different OData services would be there, which would be having a destination and call to your different systems. Although for look wise, it would be a same login and it would be looking exactly same. The gateway system would look exactly same.
Yeah. Then the roles and user authorizations management in the same server for different systems. Will that be a little different, or will that be also the same?
No, that will make so the more and more system you are having. That's why I said that it's little complicated and confusing. That scenario will become your authorization scenario will become little more complicated, where you need to make sure that you are having all of your application in the central hub scenario. In the central hub gateways, all the applications are there, and you are creating your, basically there is a concept of creation of the catalogs and the code groups. You are creating the application which is required for the X system in a separate catalogs and code groups, and then you are creating a separate roles for it and assigning it to the separate users. OData services also, if one user would be having a linkage to one system, that OData services need to be given authorization. If he's using a multiple system, multiple OData services authorization need to be given.
Okay, good.
So Parminder, here when we say like version dependencies, like in S4 HANA, like suppose if there is upgrade, like every quarter there is upgrade, right? Like that is purely S4 HANA. So here when we say version upgrade, it is for if there are any changes in upgrade in UI5, which is independent of SAP, right? So those two timelines may not match. So
Yes.
okay, so that's what you are saying, like version dependencies in embedded will if there is any change in UI5 or Fiori version changes, then application layer also we may have to upgrade it along with that in embedded, right?
Yes, right. That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. And one more question I had on Fiori. Say in Fiori also, it is kind of dev QAS and the prod, right? Or it is just like QAS and prod, or
Fiori also, yes, there would be a separate system for separate architecture for development, quality, and production. You are correct.
yeah. And say in later stage, if you want to copy, is there a kind of copy version also? Like if you want to copy Fiori prod to Fiori QAS, it's possible, or
We have never done it, but technically might be possible. We
okay.
need to check with the technical consultant the basis for it. If there is any hiccups to do that, personally, I don't remember we have done in any project that thing. But technically, principally should be allowed.
Yeah, or probably QAS copy like in S4 might update or update Fiori or something other than technical reason. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So principally should be happening, but I think we need to check with the technical peoples. I'm not very sure about that.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, thanks.
So my question falls on same thing, like version dependencies. So if Chrome, let's say Chrome gets updated every year or month or sometime, so is there no version dependency on central hub or embedded system? Like
So,
I see we implement whenever Chrome gets updated, we implement some notes. We are in central hub scenario. So how does it work in different, like what difference is there?
sorry, so when the Chrome get updated, what do you do?
We implement notes for Fiori to support Fiori to the updated version of Chrome, and we are in central hub scenario.
Right.
So,
yeah. So that yes. So that kind of what.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
So what those SAP nodes do, they do the fine tuning based on the presentation layer or based on the Chrome version changes. They do the fine tuning so that your old data services work in a better and effective way with the new versions also. So those are the fine tuning nodes. That is not exactly your version upgrade nodes. That doesn't upgrade your UI5 version, or that doesn't upgrade your version of your gateway system. Okay, so that are basically nodes which fine tune to make sure that our services would be working with the upgraded versions of the Chrome also. But that is
Okay.
actually not a version upgrade.
Yeah, yeah, got it. Yeah, we don't update.
Yeah. Okay, guys, if you don't have any question on this, we have covered the architecture part. Now will be moving ahead back to the system, and I want to discuss a little bit on the Fiori Launchpad, because now further going, you all would be working on the Fiori Launchpad. I want you to understand all of the function features available within the Launchpad. So I will be logging into our remote desktop system. At the end of the session, I will also show you that how you can access the remote desktop. If you don't have, if you have already your server, you can go ahead if you want to request it. I will let you know that how to make a request so that you can get access to the system. So this is basically our 1909 login. And then in 1909 login, when we will be logging in, we'll be having a link here. So this is a transaction. So you can double click here to log into your Fiori Launchpad. Or in the desktop also, we have saved, yesterday we have seen and how we can save a direct shortcut so that we can directly log in. So we have also saved one icon in the desktop also. So either you can do the click here, double click here and log in, or yesterday we have seen that how we can save a shortcut. So this is my shortcut for 1909. So I would be clicking it here and putting my credentials. Okay, good. It loaded perfectly. So now we are going to discuss about this Launchpad. So once you will log in into this Launchpad, what kind of different things would be available and what you will be seeing it here that we are going to discuss. So this full thing, if people is still confused what is Launchpad, this browser when it opens, when you first log in, this is your Launchpad. All the applications would be launched by using this Launchpad. Okay. Now here we need to understand some of the terminologies. So here what you see here, this is the part, some tabs are there. These tabs we call it groups, or sometimes we call it business groups. What are they? They are basically linked to the certain applications has been combined together. Certain apps has been combined together in these groups. Okay, so we'll be using, we'll not call them as a tab, we'll be using a name group or business group, and they are actually linked with the multiple applications. Now here, just give you example, this is what, when you see, we call it as a tile. Okay, we call it as a tile or we call it as an app. So this application would be having on the top, that application name would be there. And in some kind of application, specifically the KPI application, some information you can also see within the application also. It would be showing some numbers, KPI numbers, the open orders or something. It would be showing that numbers would be showing here. That you would also be able to see it from this application itself. So this part is your tile or application. This is your business group. This is your my home. My home is actually linked or similar to your favorites. So we have a favorite transaction which we put it. When we log into GUI on the left hand side top, we see that these are the favorite list of transaction. The same way the applications which user would be using it frequently and he want to put it so that he see at the top of it. The application you want to see at the top, that whenever you log in, your first 4 or 5 applications should be which you frequently use it. You can put it under my home. Then we are having here home. This is basically your navigation. It shows you where exactly you are currently. So right now we are at the home. So it is showing us this home button. Okay, so if we go ahead in one of them, then it will be showing that you are in the output control. If you go into inside of the one application, you would be showing that application name. So that navigation is there. That is with the current version of UI5 is there. You might not be having that in some older UI5 versions. You can double click on any of the applications to enter into the application. Okay. Then this part we have already discussed very detailed. I think we spent around our time on this search. Very powerful functionality. You would be able to search anything from here. You would be able to search applications or based on the data objects also, you would be able to make the search here. Then we are having another thing here. This icon is there. We call this icon as a me area. So when you will be clicking this icon, there would be multiple options which would be available here. We'll go through one by one what are those options. But this is me area. There is this icon is there. So you would be having access to multiple business groups. So if you want to scroll to the right to this business group, you can use this icon to scroll right. So this list will go into the right. And then you can also see the list of all business group available by clicking here. Okay, so if you will click it here, it will show you all the business groups which is available, and you can quickly click on that and you can go to the application which is related to that business group. The home would also be having a same kind of navigation. You can click on this home symbol and then it would be taking it to the multiple applications. So now I will take a screenshot and then we will be going ahead. I would be clicking some of these stuff. Let me put a screenshot and we'll put in our presentation deck. So now we'll go into a little bit detail about this presentation deck. A little bit detail about our LaunchPad. So that is the basic stuff is there. I will now remove that basic stuff and let's try to click on the multiple places. So now we click on this home button. Okay, so it is showing me, if I click on this, it is showing me home page applications. So I will just go one step back. It was not loaded. So right now it is clicked on the inventory analytical overview. If I click on the home page apps, it shows me what are the apps available on the home page. If I drop down here, these are the all business group which is available. So if I click on this billing documents, it would be showing that what are the different applications available for the billing documents. Then I can also click on these ones to directly go to this applications. So you see a lot of business groups are there, which is there. Generally, it would not be there for the business user. So I do a lot of testing of the different applications. So I have added a lot of roles so that that's why my LaunchPad would look very big. But when it has been given to user would be only given to specific roles which he need to use, and his LaunchPad would be looking very neat and clean with all set of application which actually he requires. So the same thing also you can access from this icon also. You can click it here, and from here you would be able to see the different kind of business groups which is available. So here, if you will click on any of the business group, this is a scroll button here. It might not be visible. So you can see there's a scroll button. You can scroll it down and the more application would be loaded. And if you want to directly scroll down to a particular, let's say the customer master, I will click. So system, the scroll has come here and it directly come to the customer master. Okay, if I go inside this customer master, create display change. So you can see in the navigation, it is showing me that I am at the customer master. If I want to go back to the home, I can go click here and I can go back to my home screen. Or I can also use this back button to go back to the home screens. Any place you want to come back to the main home screens, you can click on the SAP icon. Okay, so that's a quick navigation between these different applications which is available. Now I will explain you in the me area what are the things available, what are the different options available. Before I go ahead and explain you this me area, anyone has any basic question on the LaunchPad? Okay, if you don't have any basic question, we are good. Now I would be explaining you this me area. So the first thing you see here, recent activities. So you can click it here and system would be showing you what are the recent activities you have done. So I have gone to the customer master 1 minute ago, create sales order we have gone through the yesterday, different kind of search we have made 1 day ago. So that recent activity system is storing. Okay, even last 30 days activities, I'm able to see it here, what activities I have done it. So you can quickly, if you want, if you have done something, some analysis or something, you have gone with the navigation, multiple places or the search, and you want to quickly go through it, you can click it here on the recent activities. Very good function and features, which is not at all available in GUI. Then you can also click on the frequently used. What are the things which I frequently used? If you have not saved last 2-3 days, if you are working on some particular application, it is you are having a big LaunchPad with the multiple applications, and you want to quickly go through the set of application which you are working in last few days. So you can click on frequently used, and system would be telling you the applications and the things which you are frequently using it. From here also you can quickly click on it and you would be able to jump directly into the things which you have used. So that is recent activities, frequent use activities, application finder. You can click it here to find the applications which is available. So basically, don't get confused with the terminology called catalogs, and then I have said business group. Again, catalogs are also the group of applications. I would be explaining you in the next topic what is catalog, what is business group, and why the two different grouping has been created by SAP. Okay, so in this one, you would be having all of the catalogs for which you would be having applications. So you can search of a particular application from here. So what happens that in the LaunchPad, you would be having only applications which you generally use it on the regular basis. But you might be having a lot of access to the applications which you require on the ad hoc basis. So those application we don't add it on the launchpad. That access would be still be there, but you can search from here, or you can also search from on the main page. From there also you can search and get it. Okay, a lot of applications generally when we work in the GUI, you would be having a lot of access to the display transaction codes, even though you would not be knowing that transaction code. So on any ad hoc purpose, if you need to analyze or generate some report, that display access has been given. The same way, a lot of Fiori applications, analysis or analytical or reported related Fiori applications would be there, which user is not using day in, day out. So it doesn't make sense to make his launchpad clumsy from with those applications, although we want to give access. So the access will be there from the catalog. So here you can see that under this catalog, what are the applications which would be available. Okay. And these applications, so wherever it is linked to your launchpad, you can see here icon, it is blue. Wherever it is blue, it is linked with your launchpad. It is available in the launchpad. Wherever it is gray, it means it is not linked to your launchpad. You can link it. So let me go to the all ones. So you can see here these application which you see from here, it's basically gray. It's not linked. So let's say I just search for sales. So day sales outstanding is one of the application which is not linked. So either you can access the application from here, or you can also link it. So when you click it here, add tile, it asks you that which group you want to put it this. Whether you want to put it in my home, which is your favorites, or you want to put it in any of the existing groups which has been given access to you. So you can also click on the multiple groups which you want to add it. So you can click it here, close it. Okay, and then I will go to the my SAP menu. Now you can see that this application has been added into the my home. It has been added here. Okay, so this is another function to search the applications and add the applications in your launchpad. Then we are having some kind of settings here. In the settings, basically, in the settings, you would be having a basic settings, your user ID, name would be there, then appearance would be there. So somebody was asking me earlier session that how appearance can be changed. Can we go to the different themes? So that kind of different themes are available, and you can change to these kind of different themes. Homepage. Homepage, right now we see all the content and we are having a big scroll. So we are having two options here. Either we go ahead with the big scroll, or I change it to show one group at a time. Then the scroll option will not be there. I would be seeing one group at a time. We prefer this option, show one group at a time. You would be having a better performance with this. Then we would be having a language and regions. If you want to put your language, or if you want to put your date format, you can put it here. This is basically to switch on if you want to track your activities. Here we have shown that what last you have used, and the search option will also be worked based on your last search basis. Your system would be coming up with quick search options. So this is the part which is SAP is working on. We have not seen a significant improvement and development related to this area, but this would be kind of a machine learning thing in future, where basically system would be giving your personalized search based on your last search things which you have done. So this is the personalized search. If you want to, this is basically I was talking about the personalized search. This user activities is the activities which we have seen, the recent activities. So you can do the tracking allow, and then user would be saving your history that what you have used it. That would help Fiori application to respond better. Then you can also put your default values. When we'll go into the different application, we'll see that putting this default values. So if you work on the specific controlling area, you can add your default value here. If you work on the specific company code, if you work on the specific shipping point or plants, you can put your default values here. So what these default values would be doing, whenever you would be going ahead with your applications, system would be automatically filter that application with the default values. Okay, so all of the application is not linked with the default values, but SAP is with the version upgrades, they are actually linking most of the applications related to your default values. So this is also one thing which we recommend users to put the default values. This also improve your performance of the Fiori, because your system would be quickly going to the particular set of data, and only that sort of data has been called. So it improves the performance. So we have gone through the settings. Now we would be going through with edit home page. So now here user has given a capability that he would be able to see the screen, but with whatever way he want to do it. So based on the role concept, we would be proposing a screen. So our proposal, user would be able to change it as per his taste, as per his requirement. Now that kind of things was not available. First in GUI, we were not able to propose the screen, GUI screen as per the rules. Secondly, in GUI, user cannot change the first page which has been appeared as per his requirement. But here full flexibility would be there. User would be able to do all kind of changes, whichever he required. He can put the things on the My Home page, and he can also create these groups. So with the role concept, you have given him the 5 groups, but user say that I don't need 5 groups. Actually, whatever the application I need, I can quickly divide into the 2 groups, and then I would be able to easily navigate with these 2 groups. Okay, so that kind of things we can do it with edit home page. So when you click on the edit home page, what happens? You see here all of your different. So this is my home screen. You see here the cross icon. So you can remove these applications from here, or if you want to add more application, you can also add more applications. So I'm removing these applications. I want to add more application here. When I click it here, it goes back to our application finder. Here, let's say I want to add it here, more applications related to BOP. So I want to add this one. I want to add this one. I want to add this one in my home screen. I have added. Now I will come back. So you can see these application has been added. Even we can also click it here and create, user would be able to create his own groups. So here you need to enter the group name. So let's say I put Z_Sastrageek. Okay, so that is the group name which I have put it here. And then I would be clicking on this plus icon. And again, clicking on this plus icon, it goes here. So here, let's say I want to put application related to sales. And even I want to combine the application related to sales and purchase. So I'm just would select here. So let's say order to cash performance, I want to add it. So that one I have added it here. And then I am searching here related to purchase. So here, let's say I want to put create purchase order. Central and purchase requisition. So this application I require it. So I have added it. I will come back. So you will see here your application would be added it here. It's not added. Let me check again why it has not been added. So we have gone into sales. And here we have added application. This one. This has been added. The message has been showing it. And then purchase. Let's say I add this manage purchase orders. Add it to group, clearly show, and go directly from here to home. Yeah, now it has been added. Okay, whatever the group you have created, anytime you can go ahead and also delete the group. Okay, and whatever the group which you have added, so this is the standard groups are there. In the standard groups also, you would be able to remove the application which has provided to you. So that will not remove your access. That will be only removing it from your, that would be only removing it from your LaunchPad, but the access would still be there. So anyhow, whatever the changes you are doing it here, you can also reset. You want, if you will be clicking on the reset, it will be going into your authorization. It would be checking what is the group is there. Under this group, what standard application has been put it in authorization. It would be defaulted to that. Okay, so that kind of changes also we can do it. So once we have done with the changes, I have added the things here, and I have also added the things in the, I have also added the Z group. So I will close it. So you see that your changes has been saved. So you can see the application which I have put it into the My Home is now appearing here. And the application which I have put it into this new group which I have created, the Sastrageek, it is also available here at the top, and the applications are also available. Okay, so this is way we can also go ahead. User would be able to go ahead and edit it screens. User would be able to do the multiple things here by doing edit. You would be able to customize as per his requirement.
Is it possible to change the tile name itself?
Tile name, user would not be able to change it. User would be able to create new tiles. Okay, in the new tiles when he creates, there he can give its own tile. Okay, the sales order fulfillment tile name, if you want to change it, you need to contact Fiori consultant, and the Fiori consultants would be able to change this tile name. User would not be able to change this tile name.
Okay.
Will the app finder work on authorization? Like, or you have wide range, right? You are searching everything. Someone from sales comes, will he able to see everything or only authorization objects?
No, only authorization. So basically, I need to still touch on the authorization part. System search check your role. Within the role, it checks what are the catalogs are given in the roles, which has been assigned to you. In App Finder, it only shows the catalogs which has been assigned to you. It is not the search, whatever the application has been implemented, do the all search. No, whatever the authorization has been given to you, based on that, the search happens. So I was showing you there was a question on the creation of the tile. So I have gone into this sales order fulfillment application. So here you will always see this icon here, share. So in this share, you would be having an option save as tile. So here, when you will be saving as a tile, system would be asking you what kind of tile format you want to select it, what subtitle you want to give it. So that kind of options would be there. So we'll go into more detail. I just want to show you that option. So let's say I put Z my sales and I click on OK. So in your home group, the system would be adding that tile. You need to refresh the page. And then the tile would be available here. By the time it's coming, the system is responding. If you guys have any question, you can ask it.
In the me area, there is a date format. And in GUI also there is a date format. Which one?
So GUI has its own settings. Okay, when you go to the GUI, it takes the GUI settings.
Okay.
When you go to the Fiori, it takes Fiori settings.
Good. Thanks.
Do we have list of all simple logistics styles or apps so that we can ask that app to our basis team to get authorization in our current system?
Yes, so we will be going through that. I will be showing you how you can prepare that list and how you need to go to the basis team. So one thing we have already seen in one of the session when I was covering the best practices, there, if you remember, we have downloaded accelerator in the Excel form. So it has basically based on the different scenarios, what different apps would be required. One list we get it from there. And another way is there, we would be going through the Fiori library. So the next topic is Fiori library. Before Fiori library, I need to still cover the concept of catalogs and the business group. And then I will be taking you to the Fiori library. I will let you know that how you can generate that kind of Excel sheets for you with all the Fiori applications required.
Okay.
So you can see here that the custom text which we have put it here is appearing here as Z My Sales under the sales order fulfillment. The application we have put it, it would be coming with the custom text which user has created, Z My Sales. So there you would be able to see a user customized test. If this application name itself you want to change it, you need to contact the Fiori consultant to get it changed. Okay, guys, any another question on this LaunchPad, what we have seen today so far? So now you guys can go ahead and try to play around with this LaunchPad, try to do the activities like adding a group. Okay, so try to explore different applications, that things you can start.
Hi, Parvinder, to create the group, is there any authorization required?
So what happens that when you create a business group here, there is some OData services has been called. Those OData services, we give authorization to all users. So in SAP GUI also we have a, the default roles, right, which we give it to all users to change the passwords or to change the personalized settings. We create a default role and we give it to all users. So that service which is used, which controls whether a user would be able to create a business group here in the LaunchPad or not, that authorization has been given to user through the OData services. So once the OData services access he will be having, he would be able to create the group. If you want to restrict, yes, it is possible to restrict. Any other question, guys? Okay, so if we don't have any other question, I have still 10 more minutes left. I would be explaining you the concept of catalog and business group. So we have seen the two things, right? We have seen that these are the business group, which groups multiple different kind of applications. Okay, and we see that these all groups comes by default based on the roles we have assigned. So this is a group. And the another thing we have seen it is we have gone into the application finder, and then we have seen here something called catalogs on the left hand side, and we have also seen that catalogs also are the grouping of applications. So we have two groupings here: business group as a grouping of application, and the catalog, which is a grouping of application. So that concept I would discuss it quickly, that how catalogs would be different than the business group. I would quickly discuss that concept before we proceed ahead. Okay, so now we are going to discuss what is the concept of catalogs and business groups. Now, what we have seen that as soon as we log in, users see the screen, and in this screen, these are the business groups are there. And apart from that, what we are saying that user would be having a role. Under this role, we would be having a catalog. And under this catalog, he would be having access to the applications. He would be having an application to which he has access. Now, this is also the grouping of applications. And under this also, I'm having a grouping of applications. Now the question comes, why these two groupings are there? So basically, this grouping has been created so that we will be having a simplified screen where basically user would be able to see the limited application. So access, he might require access to a lot of application. Application A is required access, B is required access, C require access, D require access, E require access, but everything we don't want to put it on his LaunchPad. We only want to put it in LaunchPad, the A, B, and C. This D and E is ad hoc usage. So what you can do is then you create a business group, and under this business group, you put it an application A, B, and C. Although your catalogs is having application A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, and in the LaunchPad, user will be able to see A, B, and C. D and E, how he will able to access? He need to go into the search or application finder. From here, user would need to find the application and user would be able to access. Anytime user feels that this is not there in my business group and I want to add it from the app finder, he can easily add it if he requires it. And he can also easily remove if he doesn't require it. So that option is available. So that's why a business group has been created with the smaller set of applications which business would be frequently using it. Okay, and what you can do that if a user is working both on sales and the procurement, you need to check both sides. So catalogs would be there, separate catalog for sales would be there, separate catalog for procurement would be there. What you can do, you can create a business group and you can combine the application. So this is catalog N1 and there would be another catalog N2 which has application X, Y, and Z. So you can create a business group where you can say that I need an application A which is coming from catalog N1. I need application B which is coming from catalog N1 again. And I also need an application Y which is coming from catalog N2. Although these are two different application area catalogs, but you would be able to combine them into a single business group as per your business needs. Okay, so this catalogs and business group, who creates it is basically Fiori security consultant. Your security consultants need to do it. Sometime it need to be all. Sometime we have seen that the Fiori consultant also do it. In some of the projects, even none of the people would be having a knowledge related to that. Even as a functional consultant also, we have seen they need to do it. Okay, so it's a very good concept to know that how the catalogs works and how the business group works. Now, each role need to give an access to both catalogs also and business group also. So when user will be launching a LaunchPad, system would be reading the role, and based on the role, it would be reading what business groups are there, and business group would be loaded here in the LaunchPad. And full access control would be done through the catalog. So in the Fiori roles, you will see both we need to attach. We need to also attach the business group and we need to also attach the catalogs. Both things we need to attach it. So what SAP provides us? Okay, so I will discuss that now what SAP offers in terms of our catalogs and business groups. So in SAP offering, for SAP, what it does, SAP comes up with the business roles. These are standard SAP role. So which we have seen also in the best practices, right? So there would be a sales representative role. So as per SAP, under the sales representative, what application access would be there? SAP would be providing. So SAP would be coming with the business roles. Then SAP would be coming with the business catalogs and business groups. So role has been created, business catalog has been created, business group has been created. This would be having a access to the multiple applications. In the business group also, it would be having access to the multiple application. Within the business role, there can be more than one catalog, there can be more than one business group. So this is basically n raised to n connections are there. One business group can be there into the multiple roles. Within the one business role, there can be multiple business groups can be there. One catalog can be there into the multiple business roles. Within the one business role, we can have a multiple n number of catalogs. So these all things comes from SAP. So this comes from SAP. So what happens when SAP gives these roles? It would be, as per SAP, the sales rep would be having access to 20 different applications. Okay, but as per your business role, your sales rep doesn't need these 20 different application, but the sales rep is also doing some activities related to fulfillment or related to the delivery creation, which is another role. So what we will be doing it in the projects actually, these are the reference roles. Then we create our client specific role. You can say the Z role or permanent roles. Under this Z role, we would be creating this business catalogs, or we can also refer to the business catalog, or we can create our own Z catalogs as per our company requirement, that what applications need to be combined together in one catalog and what business groups are required to be combined together. So that work is done through Fiori Designer. So we'll also have next week a session on the Fiori Designer. I will take you through the Fiori Designer so that you can understand how these catalogs can be created, how this business group can be created. Functional consultant, whether they would be doing it, no, but they would be having a big role to design an architecture, that what different catalogs would be required, how many different catalogs required, how many different business groups required, and how these applications would be linked. What are the different applications would be linked to these business groups and the catalogs. Maybe on the Excel sheet, where earlier we were creating a role master, we will again be creating a role master where we'll be defining it, what different roles would be there and what kind of different catalogs, business groups, and the application access would be there under them. And the final hands would be the security consultant role, who would be going into the Fiori Designer to get it created. So with this explanation, we are ending our today's session. Okay, in next week's session, we'll continue with the Fiori. We have still a lot of more concepts which we need to see through Fiori. So I see at least one more session would be there on the Fiori. We need to understand the Fiori library. We need to understand the Fiori Designer. We need to understand the authorization concepts. We need to also understand how the application get activated, how the OData service can get activated, and how to do the troubleshooting of the Fiori applications. And one more thing I will include is embedded analytics with the Fiori, generic, without reference to any module. So I think to cover this, at least we'll require 1.5 more session on the Fiori, which we'll be doing in the next week. And then next week, we'll be creating our configurations. We'll be setting up systems so that we can run order to cash, procure to pay, and production scenario, the org structure creation, plant, company code creation also we'll be doing in the next week. So I'm taking a pause here. Now you guys can ask any XYZ questions which you are having it. If you want to ask it, you can ask it now. Any relevant, irrelevant questions that you want to ask it now.
For this Fiori's application you have explained, is it referred embedded system or it's the central hub system?
This concept, the catalog and the business group concept, which we'll be discussing it, would be same for both of the system. Even though from today's session and when we are going ahead, any concept we will be discussing it, we will be discussing more functional concepts. Functional concepts remain same, whether it is embedded or a central hub.
And what's SAP's recommendation? Which one to use, embedded or?
SAP, as such, it's SAP recommend that it's based on the business scenarios. In one or two cases, when we have approached SAP with our business case, SAP recommended us the central hub scenario. So I would say that based on your business scenario, you can also reach out to SAP to take their advice that for you, whether you should go ahead with the central hub or you should go ahead with the embedded.
Mhm.
Is it depend upon the number of concurrent user also?
Number of concurrent user might be, but I'm not sure.
As a Fiori license based on the concurrent user, or how it happen actually?
No, Fiori comes by default with your S4HANA. So SAP is promoting that the Fiori would be their future interface. Let's say initially GUI was there. So the same way, SAP doesn't charge you separately for the usage of the Fiori.
Is it so?
Sorry?
For all Fiori is available.
Yes, it's available. The charges is depend on the separate user. So you have a concept of a key user, business user, user who would be only doing approvals, and they have categorized their user into the 3-4 different categories. So that based on that category, they charge it. But that is charging for S4HANA. Not that one user is using 5 applications, another user is using 10 applications, the charges would be more or less. Or one
So
user is using Fiori application, another user is not using Fiori application, charges would be separate. It's not like that.
you're saying that when you purchase S/4HANA, Fiori available Fiori comes by default.
Yes, Fiori comes by default. There is no separate charges for the Fiori apart from the infrastructure which you need to ready.
We have to activate only.
Yes, yes, correct.
The following web browser can be opened in any system. There is no authorization required.
Sorry, come again. There's a lot of background noise disturbing.
I'm saying that the web browsers link which you are having for accessing this Fiori application, so it can be accessed in any systems. There is no any authorization required in order to perform.
No, authorizations are required. We discuss in detail, right? The multiple authorization layers are there, which you need to pass through it so that you would be able to access the system.
No, in order to access the web browser also.
Web browser, the Google Chrome you're saying?
Yeah, initially the web browser which you are opening for accessing the Fiori, where you are entering with your user ID, password, the gateway. That particular link I'm saying that it can be accessed in any systems. There is no authorization required.
No, so that's why I explained you the two concepts. One concept is the authorization concept. Second is the authentication concept. So when you log into your browser with the URL, first it authenticate you. Okay, so authentications make sure that whether you are logging in from the network, which you are supposed to use that URL, whether that authentications are there or not. Secondly, whether you are having a proper credentials for which you can enter into this application. So that authentication will come first and the authorization will follow. So anywhere you use that URL which has been given to you, it will be having an authentication check that you are using it from the network which you are supposed to use it, and you are having a credentials to use it.
And this Fiori being the responsive form, right? So it will take the shape of the any devices. The screen gets adjusted accordingly, right?
Yes. So the new application which has been developed, you would be able to see that the application is supported through the mobile and the browser both, desktop both. So those applications would be, or all the new application which has been designed would be adaptive to both mobile and desktop. Yesterday we discussed about the HTML applications. HTML applications are not adaptive with mobile, so you would not see the user friendliness for the HTML application through mobile.
When you say the new application means what do you refer actually?
New application means which is simplified for SAP S4HANA.
Okay, so S4HANA
Created for specifically for Fiori. So in transaction application, if you remember, I will take you back to the slides which we have discussed yesterday. So here we have discussed two kind of application, right? One is simplified for Fioris, and then second is HTML application. We have also gone through the application create sales order, which is a VA01 application. It opens similarly like VA01. So that is basically your HTML extension of a transaction code available as a Fiori application. So this is the HTML extension where only the Fiori theme has been put it on this transaction code. This would not be adaptive to the mobile. It will not be a mobile friendly. But whatever the new application has been created by using framework and the guidelines of the Fiori, that all application would be user friendly on the mobile.
So are you saying that VA01 we cannot access through mobile or not user friendly, you're saying?
You can access, but it is not user friendly.
So they are going to change with the new version 1909 something, or?
Yes. So we have seen a very good progress. Many transactions they have simplified and creating a Fiori applications. So there is a big journey. So GUI is having a thousands, might be million of transaction codes, right? For each transaction, need to create a simplified Fiori applications. It required a quite significant effort. So with every version, SAP is increasing the simplified applications for Fiori. But there are still many transactions, especially all of your transactions where you will be doing customizations. SPRO would still be same in the HTML format. So SAP is going based on the usage and where they can quickly convert into the simplified form. So more usage application where the usage is more, SAP is creating a simplified applications before for them. For procurement, we have seen in 1709 itself, you was having more or less the transaction code which we use it. Most of the transaction code they have converted into the simplified applications in 1709. And then there's a good progress in 1809 and 1909 also.
Parminder, I have two questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the transaction codes or reports or the tables which we can create both in Fiori or as well as in SAP GUI.
Whenever you talk about transaction code, it's a GUI part.
Yeah.
You need to create transaction code if you want to create a new transaction code. It's a you need to create it on GUI.
Yeah.
Whenever
Now,
you say that new Fiori application need to be created, that would be in Fiori. Just to give you an example, now SAP has stopped creating a new transaction codes. All of the new functionalities which is coming up, SAP is coming up with the Fiori applications only. We'll discuss the back order processing. We'll discuss the MRP live part, DDMRP part. All of the things, whatever the things which we need to do, there is no transaction available. Only Fiori applications.
yeah, this is exactly the question. So whether to create a transaction code or an app
So
is the question.
It depends if you are using a Fiori, okay, and your IT strategy is to adopt to Fiori 100%. It doesn't make sense to create a transaction code, to create a GUI interface. It makes more sense to directly develop your UI5 interfaces.
Very good. That's what I wanted to hear. And exactly the same time, SM30 tables, which we want to give it to the users. So those also recommended to have a Fiori apps or?
So if you understand the Fiori which we have explained, it's basically only the call.
Yeah.
It is calling. Itself, Fiori doesn't have any data. Fiori doesn't have its own tables. So all the tables come up from your backend system. Okay, so all the table creation can happen through the backend system. So whenever you create a table, it gets created on the backend system, not on the Fiori front-end system.
Yeah, that understood. So For that, maintenance of any table, the transaction code cannot be given. So we'll create a Z transaction code for the users in a GUI. So instead of creating a GUI with the transaction code, so
You should,
Fiori app can be created.
yeah, so there's a two ways which we can do. The
Mm.
more recommended approach, you develop a Fiori application from scratch
Mm.
to get
Mm.
your Z tables updated and
Yeah,
give
yeah.
authorization to them. Another thing, if you have already created some Z transaction code, if you want to quickly take it through the Fiori, so if it is already HTML enabled, you can take it as a HTML application. The
Mm.
HTML version of your Z transaction code, you can take it to Fiori and create an application to it. So when user would be clicking it, he would be able to update the table, but the look and feel would be similar to your GUI, although he is doing on the web browser.
Yeah. Good. Thanks for this. And then comes to the effort part. The same functionality or a report or whatever, creation of Fiori is recommended, or the effort is more or less than GUI? Competence part, okay, we will keep it aside, but as such, the development.
Yeah, so effort part would be, that as of now, the effort would be more because the consultants we are not having that many of consultants available for the Fiori who know the in-depth of the Fiori. So they are the new consultant, which is taking more time first to learn and to get it developed. And second thing is you need to do the development at the both sides. There would be some ABAP development would still be there. Although the user interface would not be there in your backend system, but ABAP development is still required. Because when your Fiori consultant would be designing a screen on the front end, anyhow, it needs to get connected to the backend system. And in the backend system, you need to call the BAPIs and the functional modules.
Yeah.
So that writing of the BAPI and functional module is still there, which need to be done by ABAPer. Then OData service need to be developed. And then the Fiori user interface need to be developed. So you will see that effort would be a little bit increased.
Okay, equally competent and top class.
Yeah, but
competence
SAP
is available as
yeah.
such. Then also it is a little bit more on Fiori.
But these efforts would reduce it. SAP is working on extensibility features within Fiori itself, which is very quick to do. So let's say if you just want to add a field, a Z field. So there is an extensibility feature has been given through the Fiori function and features, which is very quick. Okay, and very quickly within the 2 minutes, you would be able to add a Z field in your table, and you would be able to display in your Fiori user interface also. So that kind of function feature SAP is working on, which in future will actually also reduce the effort to do the extension of the things.
Yeah. So it means the IT strategy as such is to go with the Fiori.
IT strategy should be with the Fiori because all of the new function feature SAP is delivering, they have stopped working on the GUI interface. They're only working on Fiori interface. So any new function feature you need to adapt to, anyhow you need to move to Fiori. So IT strategy should be towards Fiori.
Yeah. Got it. Thanks.
Okay, guys, I want to quickly show you that if you want server access, okay, the people who has taken the package, we are basically the server access has been included. So now we have jumped into our sessions. The theory part is over, and we will be doing the actions on the system. So today also we have done certain part which you can also go through. If you have the system or if you want to take a system, please take the system and start doing your hands-on on the system. So you can go to our cockpit, standard cockpit for which access has been provided. Okay, and here you need to put your name, email ID, phone number, and select there is a server issue or you're requesting for server. Put your message and click on the submit. and then we would be a backend ticket would be created, which backend support team would be working to provide access to you. Okay, guys. Any
Okay.
other questions for this week's sessions?
So the remote desktop and all the other details will also be given along with this server request.
Yes. So everything would be given, that how you need to log in, how the credentials need to be used, how you need to put user ID, password, everything, all details would be coming up on the email.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, if you don't have any other question, we can close our session here for today. So we will be joining back next week, Saturday morning, same time. Thank you for joining this week. Have a great week ahead, and goodbye for now.